So later on, we're going to be talking about TikTok. It's one of the things I want to talk about today. The fact that the government wants to come for a business. All right, they say it's the Chinese, but Apple still builds most of its phones in China. They're not trying to shut down Apple. They're not trying to invade Apple space. They're not going after companies doing business in China. They're still letting Chinese do all kinds of business here on all kinds of property. And we're going to talk about that because it just doesn't make any sense to me. And along similar lines, the government wants to regulate other tech companies. They do. They want to go after Facebook and Google and all. They're just out to get private enterprise, it seems to me. And they're also coming for artificial intelligence, which I'm very excited about. And I don't like when government gives us a buildup in advance of a technology, even being on the market or penetrating the market in a significant way. This new AI that they're scared about. Yeah, we've had, AI helping us finish sentences when we're typing or helping us with a phone call. But this new artificial intelligence threatens to be bad, they say, but it also threatens to be wonderful. So why are they out to get it all? Here to join us and help describe to us what those issues are is Sam Raus. Sam Raus is with Young Voices. We have a lot of the Young Voices people on with us. Sam, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Tell us what else we need to know about you besides the Young Voices connection.
Yes, absolutely. So I am a contributor with Young Voices and currently finishing my last semester at the University of Miami. I'm from originally outside of the Philadelphia area, and I've been working in a range of political and policy spaces as well as in the corporate sector, predominantly in media relations and communications, but also some public policy issues as well.
So you're not the one out on the beach there causing all the trouble in Miami?
No, this year they actually tried to dissuade the problems from coming to Miami for spring break and pushed them up towards Fort Lauderdale. So
did that work? Did all the crackdown on the beach, curfews and just tough stuff in terms of managing crowds, closing down bars earlier and stuff?
Well, as most locals know, these 2 or 3 weeks in the beginning of the spring, we don't really go to South Beach. We don't really go to downtown Miami because of those crowds. So I haven't seen it. I've been busy with school and traveling myself outside of the city, but it does seem to be a bit calmer this year, honestly.
All right. Well, thanks for the report on that. And tell us about artificial intelligence and what is up with the government's desire to regulate? Are they going hard at it, or are they sitting back waiting? Have they already done some regulation that we should be concerned about?
Well, really what we've seen so far is a lot of talk and no action, at least no legislation passing through Congress that I've seen thus far. Although the Biden administration has enacted some executive orders to create new small agencies to look at AI and consider regulations against AI, there hasn't really been much done yet. What really stands out to me is kind of the more alarming and surprising thing is the immediacy of these different groups like OpenAI, which is ran by Sam Altman, to beg the government to regulate them. I think this is the first time I've ever seen businesses, specifically some very influential and well-funded corporations, launching new technology and then begging it to be regulated by the government. It's quite strange to me.
Well, you're a young guy, so I'll cut you some slack here, but the big companies like Zuckerberg did this with Facebook, and he said, sure, go ahead. We need you to regulate. And it's good for big businesses because government is essentially providing a relationship, a pay-to-play relationship to the big companies.
Right.
Then they have influence over the regulatory scheme, and the smaller companies can be pushed out of the marketplace because it's too expensive to enter. So, but nevertheless, that's pretty interesting. The Sam Altman, the one of the founders of Chat GPT, or the OpenAI, the company that builds it. He's looking for the regulation, which reveals that they consider themselves one of the big players, and they consider other people a threat that'd be nice if they could get away from and block out of the marketplace with the help of their friends in government.
Absolutely. And one of the things I would also point out is it's pretty clear that there will be action in the U.S., although it's probably going to be much slower given the state of our politics today, because the EU has already passed an act in the past, I think, month or so, that regulates a whole bunch of different use cases for AI, whether that be in the biomedical sphere for different financial scoring systems, or sorting through information for, hiring purposes. That's already been restricted in the EU, which is obviously one of our bigger allied set of nations. So,
well, it's a potential
something to come.
It's a potential kind of California that would lead the way and provide a model that could be copied, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what would be? Is there any legitimate danger that you see with AI that we would benefit from government involvement? To me, anytime the government's getting involved, they're going to not be doing what they say they're up to. They're not going to protect us. They're going to protect their own interests and figure out how they can manipulate the regulatory scheme to their own benefit. And to me, that's scarier than just letting the companies do what they want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. From what I've been reading on this, there's kind of two situations that seem to have a little bit more buy-in for potential regulation that might be less concerned. The first being focused on child safety, which has a pretty wide bipartisan appeal to people on both sides of the aisle, with concerns over the influence of social media, the risks that can be posed to children online. But what I've read a lot more about, and it seems to be a much more reasonable proposal and also a fair proposal, would be focusing on not the development of AI and the technologies created, but on the use cases of it. So creating legislation that helps, when we think about when you drive a car, you're required to wear a driver's license. Now, a lot of people don't like that in certain states, but that's generally pretty common in the U.S. today. But that's not forcing the manufacturer of the car to put in some high-tech contraption that automatically puts your seatbelt on. That's regulating the uses of it, and it has a little bit less of a heavy hand in the action. Now, I'm not too sure about where this would come in place in AI, and I probably have a lot of reservations about it. But focusing on the use of it rather than the creation of it would, at the very least, help prevent us from losing our footing in staying ahead of China and other countries in the research and development phase, which is really what we're in right now.
Is there anything in this zeal, that the regulatory zeal that they're showing right now with regard to TikTok, that has set off any alarm bells for you with regard to our country getting ready to regulate the AI space?
I'm not sure if the two issues are as connected as we would think. The focus on the AI, on the TikTok legislation, the forced divestment from ByteDance and the CCP, has been a pretty largely national security focused conversation. I don't think there's been as much focus on the tech and free market side of it, being one not as directly tied in American business as it's owned by Chinese businesses. But I haven't really seen the two connected too much.
All right, Sam Raus, anything else you want us to know?
You can follow me on Twitter at SamRouse1 to see more from my posts with Young Voices.
Thank you so much for being here. Sam Raus from Young Voices. Appreciate you taking the time.